Let's recap. We brought this stuff. We drove back here. We found this site. We biked around. I should explain the base camp because I had a lot of help from the other guys we joined on the trip. My dad, Gary, my brother, Ben, and my brother-in-law, Pete. Base camp was at Massimo Point, where I've been going since I was a kid. It sits at a sort of boundary between ecosystems, deep, open, rocky water to the southwest and grassy, chain-like lakes to the northeast where we play. Life abounds at this point, and I never really understood the popularity of the bigger water. Bigger fish, I guess. 4 of us used 2 neighboring sites, both of them on the water. Gabe and I set up our tent and cots near my dad's scamp.
We're not gonna... Yeah, I'm getting this on tape.
Especially right now, because I got...
Are we not gonna drive to the flea market?
Let's talk here.
While my brothers shared the other
Flea market
site.
right now.
Pete in his tent and Ben in his Jeep.
Okay. I do too, I don't care. I'm eating my porridge.
Most mornings there begin with a quick breakfast and some fishing. More on that later.
Oh yeah, let's get them.
Though some breakfasts are sometimes a bit more hearty. It was easy to hang our hammocks at base camp too, even though we planned on only using them for the dispersed camping. In fact, we ended up sleeping in our hammocks at the base camp every night.
Complimentary of your mosquito smudge.
I'm videoing.
On our second full day, we packed up our minimal gear and headed for the dispersed site I had found earlier. Watch my Getting There episode for details about that.
Take these to the truck. Your knife's in there.
Here I'll show you some of the footage I took of the camp making activities around the dispersed site. Like I said in the Getting There video, I actually brought our gear to the dispersed site alone, while Gabe fished with his uncles and grandfather. They brought Gabe to our site by boat, just as I was rehanging the hammocks. The bug nets were essential here. At night, before the cold set in, our nets would be covered in mosquitoes trying to get in, while we rested comfortably. And one night in the rain, I might add. One of the first things to do was to saw into pieces the limb I had dragged to camp at the end of our bike ride. We had plenty of firewood and birch bark for a few days' stay. One afternoon I got really hot and sweaty cutting firewood, so I decided to take a bath in the lake. Something about seeing his dad tiptoe into a lake wearing nothing but sandals made Gabe laugh harder than I've ever heard him laugh before. It took us about a day to adjust, but then we found our rhythm. I don't think Gabe liked it there at first, but now he talks about wanting to go back. The day after we got there, that campground host at base camp stopped by to let us know that a black bear had been scrounging around the visitor center. This didn't help my ability to relax at night. One night, something woke me at about 3:30 in the morning. Somehow I knew the sound that caused it. It was a loud splash that I didn't even believe I had heard, like someone had dropped a 30-pound anchor into the water nearby. Then I heard it again, closer. My heart started to race. All I could imagine was a big bear stomping through the water, coming right for us. Then it happened again, just beyond my canoe. The moon was bright, but I still couldn't make out just what was out there. Gabe was still fast asleep. I peered out, panicking, frozen, looking for what seemed like hours. In the dark, I thought I saw something, or someone, walking up out of the water towards us, but they never really appeared. Then I heard the sound again, but farther down the river. Whatever it was leaving. I thought I might be dreaming and fell back asleep. Later, I talked to the ranger and confirmed what I had guessed in the morning. It was a beaver slapping the water with his tail. It turns out that he was actually threatening us. We were unwelcome guests in his territory. Before we left, we traveled to his lodge by canoe and took a look.
You saw him? All right, let's go. Sure. Breakfast.
Breakfast is probably my favorite part of the day at camp. We usually made coffee, oatmeal, bacon, tortillas, and cheese. Just soak it in. On most weeks up north, we have 1 or 2 rainy days, but we usually come prepared. We either drive to town or the flea market, or sit inside.
Okay. Have a seat over there, will you? After he comes in. Here we are.
Or try to catch more fish.
Ben, it's raining.
did get one.
On our rainy day, after doing all that, we realized there was more rain coming.
Hey guys, what are we doing? What's happening right now?
It's storming.
We're having a really good time.
We're in this tent.
We're in this tent.
Okay. Yeah, storm's coming. We're in a leaky tent. We'll be fine.
We had snacks, drank soft drinks, beer, and iced coffee. It was the best storm I've ever had.
Oh man. I can't get my radar to load. Oh man. Here's the thunderstorm warning at 3:30.
15 minutes.
That's that one minute. Oh, okay.
No, this is kind of
A first-time trip like this is a lot for a 9-year-old city kid, and Gabe adjusted really well. His uncles coached and encouraged him a lot, and they secretly cut, charred, and carved an award plaque for the Cut Foot Sioux Most Valuable Camper Award. We spent a lot of time talking about all the great things he did during the week. He was proud to mount it up on the garage wall where his friends can see it whenever they park their bicycles. My tent was wrecked after the storm and I had to throw it away after 12 years of hard use. I'm a pure hammocker now. I was surprised to find that our hammocks and bags were completely dry under the tarp. So I felt like we could sleep in them on our last night before our drive home on a stormy forecast. I woke up at about 4:30 in the morning and I saw a clear sky, and so I went back to sleep. When I woke again at 6 o'clock, the real storm was moving in. We threw the last of our gear in the truck just as the wind and rain started. Branches were hitting the roof as we pulled out of the campground. Downed trees were blocking the avenue of the pines as we left the forest. We got out of there just in the nick of time.